Hi, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Why I Love Volusia County, a local podcast spotlighting local businesses and local residents on what they love about being a part of Volusia. So today I'm super excited to have my guest, Dawn, with us. Dawn, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to this.
Macy, I'm elated to be here.
Well, it was a best great connection that we had a little while ago, so it kind of took us a little bit to get here, but we are here, and I'm excited and I'm stoked. But we met through a really great friend, Vanessa Cole with Coffee News. She just dragged me around the event there, the Chamber of Commerce. They had an expo, and she's like, "You just have to meet some people. I have to take you." And I'm like, "Take me away, let's go!" And you're the first one, I think. So there we
Vanessa
go.
is the epitome of what I've said so many times. That this area, this is really a big, small town.
Yes.
If you don't know somebody, you know somebody who knows somebody. The longer you live here, the more true that is.
Oh yeah. I was actually right before I got to the expo, me and my friend, she's in college, so she was like, "Hey, do you want to study with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can get some like admin and paperwork stuff done." And so we went to a coffee shop in Port Orange, we went to Copperline. And I told
Mhm.
Vanessa when I saw her, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was just at Copperline." She goes, "Oh, I know the owners of Copperline." I'm like, "All right." So like I just like or I think I even said like, "Oh, I went to a coffee shop in Port Orange." And she goes, "Oh, was it Copperline?" And I was like, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh, I know the owners. Coffee News is there." And I was like, "Okay, there we go. Like this is crazy." Um, but why don't you kick us off and tell me a little bit about your journey coming here to Port Orange, coming here to Volusia?
Coming to Volusia was pretty easy since I was born here.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in the county. My dad actually still owns the same house he bought in 1964 with my mom, and she passed away last year, but
I'm
he's
sorry.
still there. And
Mhm.
I said, Dad, why don't you move a little bit closer? Down the road here. He's like, the house is paid for, son. I'm happy there. So yeah, no, it's all good. I remember growing up and being able to play basketball in the afternoons at Sunnyland Park, and I was real excited because at the time when I was high school age, we were zoned for Spruce Creek, and they had kind of carved out the area. A third went to Mainland, a third went to Seabreeze, a third went to Spruce Creek, and I'm like, oh, this is cool because it was at the time it was the only air conditioned school in Volusia County. When you went to school back then, if you wanted air conditioning, you had to go to the library, and that was it. But that people, it's kind of hard to imagine that in this day and age, but that was true. And that was, and I had friends and family in the area, but that was when I started to really fall in love with Port Orange. And when my wife and I got married, we both managed, we wanted to get through school and get our education and everything. But we had both made a decision a long time ago that we wanted to live in Port Orange and raise our family here. And we raised both our boys here. We wanted to be part of the family culture that the city is. And uh, so long before I ever even got involved in the political side of Port Orange, very, very much attached to and in love with the culture here. It is a very family friendly city, and there's a lot to do. And matter of fact, we have more people. There's 16 cities in Volusia County. We've got more people playing field sports and of any age. We got almost 5,000 people playing field sports in Port Orange, and
Wow.
it's almost twice the number of the second closest city. And it's kind of what my philosophy is. I don't care whether you're age 8 or age 80. I want to have something for you to do, and
Yeah.
I want the city to be able to offer a lot of diverse things for recreation and the like, so that we can accomplish that. It's a
Yeah.
great place to live, great place to work. I've lived here a long time. Lived in the area all my life. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm not going away. So the bottom line is, how do I figure out how can I make a difference, and how can I make a difference and give back to the community that's given me so much and continues to give me so much. And
Yeah.
I think that is something that a lot of people all think about, and what we can accomplish and what we can do for each other. And that's part of what makes this city great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been to Spruce Creek actually during for track and cross country. Mostly track obviously because my brother's on the Flagler Palm Coast team. And so we've been there and they have amazing teams over there. Spruce Creek always does really great with not cross country. what's it called? Track. I always mix them up. I don't know why. He runs, he runs fast.
Mhm.
That's what my brother does. But yeah, so that's incredible. You guys have so many people participating because I think it's awesome to have, like a lot of maybe kids going to school, you have a big population, but the fact that they're actively participating, and I think a lot of them also are winning a lot too, is awesome that they're involved
Oh,
in the
certainly.
community.
Well, we got 10 schools. We got six elementaries, two middles, and two high schools in this city alone. So uh, there are a lot of families here. And when I say families, that spans all ages, multiple generations. So it's a wonderful thing that we can have a community that reflects the qualities of what people want, those values, and that's what we strive for.
Yeah. Well, you talked a little bit, obviously, you're born and you're raised here, and then you have also your kids that were born and raised here as well.
Mhm.
So it sounds like you really believe and you really love Port Orange. So I'm just curious on that decision, from you going to, your business and being successful there into going into more of the political sphere, and what kind of difference were you looking to make that really catapulted this?
Well, it was kind of evolutionary. I never, it's like, I'm not like setting a goal 4 steps down the road and trying to, and necessarily, I was involved on the environmental advisory board for the city when the seat on the city council became available and I was interested in it. I've also been on the advisory board for the Salvation Army here in the area for the last 20 years, and I've been involved in Volusia County schools as a volunteer. Still do, even though my kids are long gone. I'm still active. I'm doing some different things, particularly at Atlantic High School. So those things just kind of evolved to the next step. And then when longtime Mayor Alan Green, his he was term limited 2016, it just seemed like a good time, and I won the mayorship in the open seat in 2016, was reelected in 20. Now I'm term limited, and I'm kind of sad about that in a way because this serving as mayor of Port Argent this has been a joy of a lifetime. It's a
Wow.
special community, and it reaches beyond just the borders of this city. The collaborations with the other mayors and how we can make a difference everywhere. Working together in those things, and because of that, that's part of the reason why I'm campaigning to run for Volusia County Chair, because it just seemed like, okay, the next thing that I can do, win, lose or draw, I'm not going away. I'm going to find a way to contribute, and that is kind of the special thing about this area. And I think you recognize it doing all these podcasts. You talk to so many different dynamic people, very different but very dynamic, and everybody brings something to the table, and that's what makes living here so exciting.
Oh, definitely. It's been such a joy, especially because so I live in Flagler, obviously, and that's where I started the podcast. So I've
Mhm.
learned so much about Flagler. With every episode that I've done, I always ask the question, like, what would you recommend people go and do? And I remember back in January, I think I heard about like a dog surfing competition. And I was like, that sounds like insane. I want to be there. And I finally went in June. So I waited like 6 months. But the only reason I knew to do that was because I was talking to people and I was really learning about the community, especially because I am still new, only a few years here in Florida. And I thought, what better way to learn than just actually talking to people, really learning through their experiences. And now, as I'm doing more Volusia interviews, I'm learning so much about Volusia, about Port Orange. Like, I had no idea about. I don't think a single thing that you told me, I was like, I didn't really know. So now I do. And I think this is like awesome that I continue to grow the knowledge of our area. And there's so many different, quirks and different things that really make Port Orange and Volusia, Port Orange and Volusia. So kind of on that note, what would you recommend people to do? Especially you've been here, you've seen it all. I'm sure you've been everywhere. You kind of have all the secret tips on what would you recommend for maybe new people or tourists, maybe places to go, events to go to, groups to join, to really get active with the community, put themselves out there.
Well, it depends on what you're into. I mean, if you like to walk, there are so many different walking trails. You, there are a lot of people that walk the lake around City Center on our City Center campus every day, or they go down the river walk. I do a bridge walk every Wednesday night, depending on the weather. That's more for exercise. There are so many places that you can bicycle. some better than others, but the trails are getting better, and those are things that we're working in combination with other cities in the county to improve on. Well, one of my favorite activities is throwing my bicycle in the back of my truck and driving down to the beach, parking, and then taking a bike ride.
Nice.
And you can bike up and down the beach, whether it's a traffic zone or a traffic free zone. You can go through all of the above, but the beach itself has so many different, I mean, it's one, we might have 23 miles of beach, and people think of it as one beach, but depending on where you're at, you could be in a high tourist area with a lot of action and activity. You can and you can go cruising, or you can take a nice quiet section of the beach where you don't want to be around traffic and you just want to relax all day. Stay there with friends, take a tent down there, bring a grill and cook out and make a day of it. A lot of people do that on a nice Saturday or Sunday afternoon. And the thing is, that because of that beach, it offers so much, and we have to take care of it. We have to take care of it. I'm not sure we've always done the best job with that. Some better than others, but I personally, there's a lot of debate about beach driving. I like beach driving, but I also recognize that you also have to have areas where people have choices, and we have. Part of it was to protect sea turtles. We've lost a good chunk of the beach to beach driving. I want to preserve what we have, but I'm glad to have the areas that to give families a friendly area where they can go to and not have to worry about cars with small children. I think that's important.
Yeah.
If you surf, I tell you what, the one thing about the surfing community here is there may be a lot of young people to do it, but I see surfers of all ages, all ages. Once you get that bug in your life, and I've done a little bit of it over the years myself, but once you've got that bug, it kind of stays with you. Some people might not do it as much, but you can go down there in the surf zones and see people of all ages. You want
Yeah.
to walk your dog on the beach. We've got sections to do that now that are more accessible. And the things that we need to do to make that beach even more friendly to more different types of activities, the better. That's part of the reason why I've one of the reasons why I've never left here. A lot of it has to do with families and friends, but that beach is so unique. It is a draw, and I've lived all my life within just a couple of miles of it. You can't get that out of your blood.
No. That's awesome. Yeah, so I'll definitely make sure. I mean, especially you were talking a little bit about surfing and passion, and me and my dad were actually just talking about this also, is, having that passion for something, and it never really goes away even as you get older. Even if you're maybe not doing it at the intensity that you did when you were younger or something,
Mhm.
the fact that you're still able to access that. Like I know so many people who surf from all ages, from, like middle school all the way to, like almost retired kind of. So there's just so many different age ranges. And there's always, I think, something to do. I feel like a lot of people ask me because I'm 20, and they go like, "Oh, is there anything for you to even do around here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, there's plenty of things me and my friends love to do." I know one of my friends, he loves to rock climb, and there is a great one in South Daytona.
Mhm.
I love to ice skate, so there's an ice skating rink in South Daytona as well. So, Port Orange and the neighboring places there, just so many amazing things. But Dawn, thank you so much for coming and sharing a few minutes of your time. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I learned so many cool things to do and just learn about Volusia. So thank you so much for teaching me this. I appreciate it.
Pleasure that they're the hidden part of Volusia. The longer you live here, the more you find all these great treasures, and the Volusia Flagler area has so much to offer. Always has, always will. We got to take
Definitely.
care of it.
We
We
do.
absolutely have to take care of it.
Yes, of course. Well, Don, thank you again so much for your time, and I really appreciate it. And to everyone watching, I really appreciate you as well, and I will see you next time. Bye.
May see a pleasure.